Have you ever canoed down a babbling brook?
No, but I have cried at a Taco Bell.
Oh, same thing. Listen up, campers.
It's time to buckle up, pitch a tent, and take a hike.
Because Camp Counselors is a variety show.
So prepare for a good old-fashioned kumbaya,
Weird news,
hot gossip,
and scary stories around the campfire.
so spooky.
Is this podcast even about camping?
No, but it is camp. This is Camp Counselors.
Hey, happy campers.
Welcome back to Camp Shady Birch.
It is week 136 here at camp. At least I think so. That's what I have written down, but I also have 137 written down. And I have in the past mentioned that it is in the 180s, which is incorrect. So just like take it with a grain of salt, you know?
Listen, at the end of the day, your parents have not come and picked any of you campers up. And it's alarming because now we have CPS involved and they're like, you're not the legal guardians. And I'm like, listen, they've been here for years and they won't go because they're addicted to the man-witches and the s'mores and the rowdy raccoons here. We can't do much. There's a raccoon around camp with a meth pipe and some of you are trying to score and I don't get it because it's like, that's not the point of this and that's on you. But either way, I'm happy you're here. But listen, we're not a sponsored like rehab camp too. So it's like,
well, we could be maybe cabin.
I'm not signing up to be a rehab facility, but I am signing up to entertain your lovely ears and eyes today. So thank you so much for tuning back in.
Thank you. Ari.
So I am a little jet lagged. I have to be honest.
Yes, hours behind. We're still on boat time.
We're still on Florida time. Yeah. So just because we didn't travel time zones doesn't mean I'm not feeling the effects of travel.
No, 100%.
We just spent 22 hours in Florida.
Yeah.
That was a really quick work trip. And you wouldn't believe that we had enough stories in that 22 hours to do it a whole start of an episode.
My God. Do I look tanner? Do I look Danny Tanner?
We sat by the pool for 2 hours in the shade. So you look no tanner than you did before.
And I did use my pool towel as a blanket because I was chilly.
I used my pool towel as a blanket because I didn't want people to look at my feet.
Sometimes I feel like my Coachella hangs out. I wasn't wearing underwear, so I'm like, nobody peeking.
I think you're obsessed with that because I was laying down and you said, make sure they can't see up your skirt. And I said, first of all, I'm wearing shorts. Second of all, I don't think anyone can. There's a net in there.
You would be surprised. Well, mine are board shorts. So
I think you're a creep and you're looking at people's skirts.
No, I'm not. I'm just hyper aware of what's going on with mine because I also edit this podcast and sometimes I catch a kookaroo.
Well, thank God we're both wearing denim.
Okay. Oh my God, we are denim queens.
Well, I flew down. I got an offer last week to work with Perkins Diner and we don't really have those in New York. I know there's a couple in Massachusetts, but for our Midwest campers, you guys can shake your elbows up and down as loud and as proud as you can because Perkins Designer.
Oh my God, why isn't that a thing? The Designer. Come on in and have a Louis Vuitton cupcake.
That sounds like a problem only you can solve. But I did do a partnership with Perkins Diner and I had to fly down to Orlando. Orlando is like the home of all restaurant chains, big stores.
I don't know why that is.
We passed you can't think of a restaurant that's not in Orlando. I think because everyone goes to Orlando that they need every chain there to satisfy the nation.
That's true. It is a place people flock to. I also forgot how flat it is. I don't know why I took such notice to it this time because I don't think of it as a flat state, but it is rather flat.
Well, it is sea level for the most part.
Facts.
Well, we flew down there to do a deal and I had to record at a Perkins Diner, but the trip was just riddled with little chaotic moments that had nothing to do with work. Should I start with what happened first?
I think we need to start at the beginning and end at the end. That's only fair.
That's kind of the best way to tell any story. So we bought these tickets last minute. I didn't know I was doing this until last weekend. So I bought my plane tickets for me and you on Monday. So the flight was pretty full. And anyone who's ever flown to Florida knows that that's the worst flight to take because the whole plane is just filled with families who have never traveled their lives before. And there's babies crying and kids screaming. And it's fine. You have kids. Kids are annoying on planes. I didn't act up. I didn't say anything, but we're all going to acknowledge as a group that children have a hard time on planes.
Yeah, but before an Orlando flight, you and I we understand what we're getting ourselves into.
It's the only flight that I ever fly that we clap at the end.
I
clapped the last time because I figured why not?
With all these
when
planes,
in Rome, when in Orlando.
these planes falling out of the sky. It's kind of like, round of applause, we made it.
I was saying that last time we were flying. I'm like, now I get it. I think we should be clapping for the pilot because thank God we're here. Well, so when we got on the plane to go to Orlando, we flew in on Wednesday night and it was like a 6 o'clock flight. And there was a family that were all kind of dispersed. They were all in like a cluster around us, but they all were like in 3 or 4 different rows. So you were on the aisle seat. I was in the middle. I know I'm what's the word?
A martyr.
A martyr. I was like, let my long-legged man sit on the aisle. I'm going to sit in the middle. And there was a girl sitting next to me. And I don't think she was any older than like 13. Like she was like not a little kid, but like not like a teenager.
Tween, yeah.
She was so tween.
She shops at Claire's for sure.
And we're taking off and it's raining. So there is immediate turbulence. And like, it was bad enough for me to be like, oh my God, I'm uncomfortable, but I don't think she flies as much as I do. I don't think she was a comedian. Not yet. But
no,
she should be.
She might be.
After this flight. So she was like very like stressed by it. And I felt bad for her. And I wasn't going to like talk. Cause I'm like, I'm a 30-year-old man. Like I don't need to be talking to this like 12-year-old girl. Like I don't know her like that. But I did like.
You felt for her, right? You recognize.
My empathy. I was like, oh no, I can sense that she's 10. So I gave her a little like smile, like it's going to be okay. And then I kept on with my day. So I have beef with Delta. I've always been a Delta girly. This flight there and back, we'll talk about the other one later in the show. We're both atrocious. Delta, I got beef with you. You were closing the compartments for people to check their bags, even though the plane was full. I don't want to hear anybody in these comments being like, it's for weight distribution. Okay, like you made the plane knowing that people would be sitting on the entire flight. Like that doesn't make sense to me. So I thought that was shady that they closed the last 6 rows of bins. Like
it was. Our tickets, we were in like the back of the plane.
Which is technically the safest place to sit on a plane. Did you know that?
It's also the loudest and the stinkiest.
And the shakiest.
Yeah. But the guy was closing the things and I was trying to put my duffel up and he closed, I'm not kidding, about a quarter of the plane. And they were trying to get people to tag their bags and put it under the bin. But we had walked past that part. You handed in your bag and that's why we were able to board a little bit earlier because you had your roller bag, but I had a duffel. So I go to put my duffel up. There's literally nowhere for me to put it because all of them are closed. They were all empty. So I opened it.
He was shocked that you like checked them like that. And then I said out loud, I said, why would you close all these bins? And I wasn't being combative, but at the same time, like if you are going to be problematic and not let people put their bags up, you better have an answer for me. And I was like, why would you do that if there's all this space? And he was like, we paid $500 for a seat and row 34D. You should be able to put your duffel above you when there's 6 compartments open.
You would think.
I'll be the villain here, Delta. Stab me in the neck. But I know it's not the flight attendant's fault. It's you're just following procedure. But big Delta, literally grow up. So anyways, you think that's bad? How about them not giving headphones to the entire last 15 rows of people on the plane?
Not even offered.
Weren't even offered. Do I need them? No. I'm playing Disney Solitaire and I'm listening to music. But the poor girl next to me, who was probably 12 years old, watched the entire movie, The Lorax, with subtitles on.
No headphones. I felt bad for her.
I felt so bad for her. So I quickly realized she doesn't fly a lot because when the food and beverage cart came by, they asked her if she wanted a drink and she said a water. I said, I'll have a Coke. Jonathan got a Diet Coke.
Delta orders.
And then they were asking for snack orders. And I noticed that the thing is like, if I feel like people can't hear and I'm too aware. So I'm like, I know she didn't hear the question. I want to make sure she gets a snack. I'm just trying to be nice. So they asked her, she wasn't paying attention because she's trying to read subtitles in a loud plane for Lorax on mute. So he skips over her and I looked at her, I was like, do you want a snack? And she said back to me, she said, I don't have any money. And I said, oh no, honey, it's free. Don't worry. So she goes, oh, it's free. And then she goes, can I get the chips? And then they gave her the chips. And I said, can I have a cookie? Of course. What kind of cookies are they? The Biscoff cookies.
The Biscoff.
And they're delicious. And I gave her my Biscoff cookies.
That's
fully
so
wrapped.
noble. You're such a noble Nelly.
I said, let her have a good experience. She's on the way to Disney. Like she should enjoy her flight.
Yeah.
And she was so excited. And then she's literally having the time of her life at this point. Behind her is her like teenage brother. And she's like, you want your chips? You want your chips? He doesn't want his chips. So she gets a second bag of Sun Chips. She is smacking at a volume I've never heard in my entire life before. She's licking her fingers. She's having the time of her fucking life. And then this is when things take a dark turn for me, okay? I am just trying to like let her enjoy her flight. She's been pissing me off with the smacking of the lips. It's fine. But poor girl, she's freezing to death. She has like 13 jackets over her from like random family members.
If I had to diagnose, I'd say anemia.
The jackets were literally grazing my leg. And there's nothing worse than something soft touching you. It's like, I'm actually going to freak out right now. Like it's not even on me. It's just kind of like breezing against my leg here.
It's always on a plane, yeah.
Always on a plane. So I kept like pushing it off. And then then she asked her brother for a sip of his hot coffee that he got, which there's never been a hotter cup of coffee than a plain coffee.
Which is crazy because it's like the tiniest bit of turbulence and we've got a burn victim.
It's literally boiling coffee. So while they're passing back a cup of hot Delta coffee, it's in between our seats. So it's right over my shoulder and the bottom of the coffee cup is grazing my shoulder and it's boiling hot. So now I'm actually freaking out. So then the flight attendant comes back with a tray of coffee, like some sort of fucking, I don't know, like French server, like coffee. And she's like, I want a cup of coffee. First of all, you're 11, bitch. I don't think you need this. And it's an 8 o'clock flight.
It's going to stunt your height.
It's also nighttime. Like, I think you're good, but she's freezing to death. So she needs a cup of coffee, apparently. Then, you guys, she has this full cup of coffee that she's added like 13 packs of sugar to. Didn't need that as well.
She's like, this doesn't taste good.
She's
like, of
literally
course it
making
doesn't because you're
potions.
9.
Like, she doesn't need this.
That's what she's doing.
We're wrapping up Lorax. I'm reading the subtitles because now I'm invested in the end of the story. And we're hitting this insane like bout of turbulence. And she has the cup of coffee on the tray and that weird like little indent of a cup holder that's nearly not holding anything together. And I'm watching the coffee splash up into the lid, like the perimeter of the top of the cup at such a force that it is like with it like a millimeter of splashing over onto my leg. She doesn't even
care.
flinch. Her legs are up. She's sitting like with her legs, like her arms wrapped around her knees. She's so locked into the movie. I can't do anything but watch this cup of coffee, kick my back to you, and put my knees towards you. I'm like, I'm gonna get burned. I'm gonna get burned. I'm gonna get burned. I'm gonna get burned. Long story short, I was not burnt, but this bitch was pissing me off now because she's smacking lips and I'm trying to be fucking nice to her, but I'm like, just finish the fucking coffee. Just finish the coffee. And then she doesn't know that you can give the coffee back even if it's not empty. And I'm like, you should just give it back because you're not even drinking it. And then we land. And she looks at me and she goes, what does she say to me? She goes, you know, you look just like my social studies teacher. I go, oh, do I? She goes, yeah, Jacob Ferreira. Look him up on Safari.
She literally was like, pull up Safari, pull it up right now.
So I'm being bullied. So I go on Google Chrome because I'm an adult. And I go, Jacob Safari, New York City history teacher.
Ferreira.
Oh, Ferreira. Like 15 like pictures come up that are not the same. And
Yeah.
she goes, you're not going to see it, but I do.
And you just nodded. You were like, yeah, wow, that's great.
And I was like, I'm not talking to you. I was like, oh, and I looked at you. I was like, just talk to me because I'm not doing this anymore. Because if I continue, I know I'm going to be insulted. And also, while it was loading, all I could think of it, if I see some fat motherfucker on my iPhone right now with no hair, I'm going to flip the fuck out. if I'm going to be insulted after almost getting a burn from your hot Delta coffee. And I hope she's having fun in Disney right now. I really do.
She probably is. Yeah.
So, you know what? All this could have been solved if she was given headphones. I think she would have really slowed down. She needed activities because she was bored.
She was.
She was getting coffee because she was bored. She was looking for more snacks because she was bored. She's freezing. Like, just give her the goddamn headphones, Delta, because you're pissing me off now. So that was the first story. We got to the hotel room. It's like 10 o'clock at night. It was Wednesday night. Survivor finale was coming out. I was so excited to watch it. I had it recording on my like DirecTV app. I only have DirecTV because I did a deal. They gave me a free year. It ends in June. We got to cancel that before they start charging me. Anyways, it wouldn't let me Chromecast it to the hotel TV because I think it was still recording and they were like, that's shady. What are you doing? And I looked at you and I said, it's a 3-hour finale. I don't want to start this at 9:30. I'm done. So at the airport, I got a package of popcorn and Bunch of Crunch. And the popcorn was labeled as movie theater butter. Jonathan, what did that popcorn taste like to you?
It tasted like sticky tacky toes. It was a little
Smart foodie.
Yeah, it was a little smart foodie. It was a little Chloe Cloud. What is it? Clouds by
You
Glow.
haven't even had that popcorn yet.
It was a little aged white cheddar.
It was. And like, I'm not against that, but don't advertise popcorn as movie theater butter popcorn and then have any sense of cheese on it. It's so weird.
But you know what? I did think that it could be flavored by association because it did have like the similar oils that they're usually.
I think I just tasted cheese because it tasted like cheese.
And that's a valid point. It is.
And I got that specifically because my favorite movie theater combo is Bunch of Crunch chocolates with buttered popcorn. I thought, oh my God, what a treat for Survivor. We didn't end up watching Survivor, but I was still eating in bed, as one does in a hotel. And I was like, I don't want the popcorn, but I'm just like handfuls of Bunch of Crunch because it was one of those resealable bags, which I'm still eating in my bed right now. And it was delicious. We go to bed because it was like, so we woke up so early that day. So we go to bed at like 11. I wake up in the morning and I like scratch my nuts. And I did. Okay. Get over it. And I'm not joking. What I pulled out from my underwear was so alarming. It was a little crispy.
This is an open book if I've ever heard one.
I am so transparent with these girls. They know it. Campers, it was a little crisp, and it didn't come from me. It was the chocolate melted off of the Bunch of Crunch. I said, oh no, I made a mess of this bed. I made a mess of myself. And I'm like, this is awful. Am my balls covered in Bunch of Crunch chocolate? No, even worse. I get out of bed. I look at the sheet. Right where my butt would be lying is a big, brown, greasy chocolate stain, which is a chocolate or poop. If a freaking cleaning lady comes in or cleaning person comes in the room, they're going to see that and say, who shit the fucking bed?
Yeah, you're going to get charged and like put on, you're going to blacklist it.
Oh my God. I'm
brown listed even.
And my first thought was, let me get a wet face cloth and dab it up. But the thing is, there's no bleach involved and it's still going to be brown. And then it's going to look like a more diluted brown stain. And that's crazy. I can't do that.
Well, you didn't even attempt, I will say.
I'm not, because I knew it was going to happen. That's going to happen. I actually, in my life, that is the one thing I'm so bad at, stain removal. Hand to God. If I have a grease stain on my shirt,
I've done your laundry.
Throw it out. It's like, seriously, throw it out. Because even this shirt, oh my God. Example.
This is a good example.
I'm wearing my Noah Kahn shirt. I got one stain on it the first day I wore it. I was like, let me spray it with like Tide or like whatever those stain removers. Now there's a giant white stain where the stain was. It's like, I'm addicted to bad stains.
You used a bleach pen. You did use a bleach pen.
I don't know what I used because I'm an adult.
I do.
So what I did was I went to the little pad and paper in the hotel room. I went to the stationery and the pen. I think you gave me the pen actually.
Yeah, I did.
And I said, to whom it may concern. That's not what I said. I said, I am so sorry. This is not poop. It's Bunch of Crunch chocolate. I know it looks like poop. I'm sorry. Something to that effect. I left the note next to the stain with a $10 bill. I just feel guilty. I know cleaning people have probably seen way worse, but like nobody wants to walk into that mess. No. Especially their first thought is not going to be, is it chocolate? They're going to go, who shit the goddamn bed?
RuPaul, it's chocolate.
It was so
no, and that's not the first time it's happened to you. That has happened in your iPhone too.
Oh my God, it happened with snow caps. I'm always melting chocolate in my crotch.
You gotta stop melting chocolate. I'm gonna call you chocolate crotch.
I think it's because I eat more chocolate than the average person. You eat more Hershey chocolate than the average person because no one should be consuming that.
If there's a bus, you're gonna throw me under it.
It's so, yeah, of course I am. And it's funny because the campers that defend you are the campers who live next to Hershey Park.
They do defend you, Kim.
Only the Hershey Park campers. I swear to God. Those people, they like love to be like, it's good chocolate. I'm like, I think Pennsylvania poisoned you in your palate.
And I know that there's better Tovalo, whatever that is. They have great chocolate.
Toblerone, yeah. Oh my God. The Europeans really locked in chocolate good.
It's Swiss. It's a Swiss Army knife. That's because the Pennsylvania Dutch. Is that Swiss?
Then you lost the recipe on the Mayflower?
Oh my God, look, the sun's coming out. What a bright day.
Okay, let me bring it back down.
Okay.
So we do the deal at Perkins. It's like a 1.5 hour shoot. The video will be up on my TikTok. If you see it, please engage and be like, LOL, I love you. Thank you so much. And then we go to the airport. And we had like, the only fun we had was like 2 hours at the pool. And it was like, okay, we had a good time, but like we were simply there for work. So we filmed to go right to the airport after.
Yeah, we could see Epcot and I could see the hidden Mickeys from our room. And it's just like, as Disney adults, for the fellow Disney adults out there who are sane, you understand the torment, the torture, the sadness that we felt.
To see the Epcot ball in the distance, to see Tower of Terror in the distance. And I'm like, we can't go and I want to go, but we're here for work and I gotta go right back because work's here.
I could hear Clarabelle's udders slapping against her inner thigh as she's crumping down Main Street.
Oh my God.
But I ignored it. I just turned my back to it and I pretended that Disney wasn't there. I was in survival mode. We were there for work.
We were there for work.
Also, this wasn't just a trip for me. I was working too. Thank you.
Yeah, you were helping me, which I couldn't do without you. So thank you so much for being there and supporting.
You're welcome.
So we go to the airport before we get our flight. And there's something about Terminal B in Orlando's airport that like the food's not giving. Like there is a Bahama Breeze, which is fun. And we did end up going there after where we went first. But like the Outback is bad there. The Outback Steakhouse. It's so busy. They lock you in that like bullpen once you go through security and you're kind of stuck. You can't really travel through that airport really well. I don't like the Orlando airport. But I know that there's more restaurant options before you go through security.
Right, which I think is strange.
Yeah, because like,
there's
who's
not a lot of
hanging out
airports.
there?
There's not. Maybe it made more sense back in the day, and it probably did because back in the day you didn't have to go you could like go up to the gate and drop people off. TSA wasn't as cracked down as it is post 2001.
Yeah, like they really should have everything after you check through, but it's like reverse there. It's bad.
But they would have to literally tear down the whole thing because it's set up like a mall.
Well, they should, because it's like so outdated and like poorly functioning. It's the only place where like the pre-check is like longer than the regular place.
It's very valid.
So we got there early and we're like, let's get food before we go through. And there was a macaroni grill.
I've never had a macaroni grill.
And you know what, campers? I'm actually going to save that last story for my take a hike, because that really boiled my blood. So without further ado,
A little teaser, wow.
we should get into the rest of today's episode. Attention campers, summer is right around the corner, and I think it's time to start feeling tropical. Let Tropical Smoothie take you straight to tropic time with their fresh from the blender smoothies and beachside bites. Campers, I have been a fan of Tropical Smoothie Cafe for well over a decade, and nothing hits quite as good as a detox island green smoothie and a Caribbean jerk chicken wrap for lunch. It's light, refreshing, and makes me feel oh so luxe. Transport your day right to the tropics with Tropical Smoothie Cafe's wide variety of smoothies, wraps, tropic bowls, and flatbreads. It's time to get out of your lunchtime rut. Whether you're chained to that office desk or dealing with those little rascals you call children, treat yourself to something you will definitely love. Who said a quick lunch can't feel like a tropical vacation? I'm trying to make every day a tropical getaway, only at Tropical Smoothie Cafe. And with the Tropical Smoothie Cafe app, you can order ahead, start earning rewards, and turn an on-the-go lunch into all-inclusive Caribbean resort vibes, baby. Visit tropicalsmoothiecafe.com to find a cafe near you. This episode is sponsored in part by Progressive Insurance.
Fiscally responsible, financial geniuses, monetary magicians. These are things people are saying about drivers who switch their car insurance to Progressive to save hundreds. Because Progressive offers discounts for paying in full, owning a home, and more. Plus, you can count on their great customer service to help you when you need it, so your dollar goes a long way. Visit progressive.com and see if you could save on car insurance. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states or situations.
Attention campers, please meet at the old flagpole under the tall pine for morning announcements.
Welcome back to Morning Announcements, campers. Hope everyone's doing well. At this part in the show, things can shift fast here. And this is the part of the show where we share news articles with you that you might have missed, that we want you to spread like wildfire. Jonathan, do you have a news article for us?
I do, but before I do, we do have very quick housekeeping.
What is it?
After the last episode that came out. Well, one, I went to go see Danica Patrick's Instagram. She follows me. I had no idea. Hi. And then two, we did get the note from many people in the comments that she is on the wrong side of history. I could not be bothered to confirm nor deny. I don't follow her and I don't care that much. Clearly, I didn't know who she was until 7 days ago.
I'm sad to find that out, but it's not the first time I've been disappointed by someone's like voting habits.
Yeah, but thank you for letting us know. We now know, and we can move along, and we can grow together like a garden.
Send her this clip. Grow, girl, grow.
Please. Okay, so with that being said, I'm going to dive into my story, the title of which I will grace your ears with at the end.
Okay.
Okay, so we're in Freedom, Maine. Have you heard of? Have you been?
No, but I like a whimsical name like that.
Yeah, it's just like
it's not like Richfield.
Yeah, that's too rich. Where the soil's made of gold.
Yeah.
The streets are made of honey.
Freedom. Let freedom reign in Maine.
No, what is that thing? The streets will flow with milk and honey. Is that biblical?
So
what is the deal?
Bible, babe.
What is milk and honey representative of? Because you know that like makes you shit, right? Like that used to be a piece of torture. I think it was like Chinese torture where they would literally like force feed people like milk and honey and it would just flow right through you. And then they would have rats.
This is beyond my pay grade.
Rats everywhere. Okay. Like I was saying, we are in Freedom, Maine, and 51-year-old Heather Donahue moved to the Pine Tree State 8 years ago after she overcame her addiction and bought land in Freedom in 2020. Recently, she has worked as a life coach and she shared her passions for gardening and medicinal plants with anyone who is willing to listen. And one thing about Heather, she loves the woods. She said, quote, "For me, reading fairy tales, I always wanted to live in a forest. It is absolutely as magical as it seemed in those storybooks. And I will say, Heather is very familiar with the woods because if you recognize her name, that is because she was the star in the cult classic found footage horror movie, The Blair Witch Project.
Was she Blair?
No. She was the lead girl though, who had like the snot running out of her nose, who was like, if you find this, I'm looking for my baby. A dingo ate my baby. That Anna Faris like made fun of in Scary Movie.
Yeah.
That movie scared the shit out of me. Literally, like in the middle of the night, I would wake up and it would be like I had Bunch of Crunch on my sheets. Like, did you see that movie?
When I was like 12, I really don't remember. I think I was like probably like playing with my DS when it was on.
I had to watch it in broad daylight with this kid named Ethan, and we were still like so scared. It was truly horrible. I thought it was real.
So she's the lead and she lives in Freedom, Maine, and this story is about her.
Yes.
Gotcha.
But this isn't about the Blair Witch Project, but it does kind of come full circle. And now she's facing a twist of fate harkening back to her movie career. Heather has been caught in a web of controversy with her locals in her tiny 700 resident town of Freedom. So for context, Heather has been a member of the town's governing body on the select board. And the controversy, I wrote this part, and the controversy begins where many journeys do, a road. The road in question is Beaver Ridge Road, a narrow, partially hilly stretch flanked by wild plants and songbirds. It's a dirt gravel path the further you go down this road, so it's residential, and then it eventually turns into like, oh baby, we're in the woods.
Okay, so the houses stop and it kind of turns to gravel, but it continues through the forest.
Yes, and
Gotcha.
like the neighborhood that it's in are surrounded by like everybody's backyard leads up to the woods, abutted. Apparently, several abutters who live on this road say that their backyards is private use, and a lot of people use them for all-terrain vehicle riding, which constitutes trespassing.
I just say ATV, honey.
ATVs, right? But again, we're trying to get the word count. Every letter counts. Heather and the town itself hold that the entire road is public. So this will make sense in a minute, but basically the people who live on the road is like, that's private property. That's part of our property because it's so close to the woods and like where their actual land is. And then the town, as well as Heather, Little Miss Blair Witch, says, no, that's public land. Because she was on the select board, what she did with good intentions was she painted these orange blazes, which were like on the trees. And she used historical maps to show that there was trails that were back there that people weren't using. So she was like, I would love to just like smoke a little and like carve out this path for the people of the town. I'm going to do my diligence, and it's going to be open to the public because it's, public property. And right now there's nothing going on there.
And the people that live there are like, oh my God, this is my backyard. Now I have ATVs ripping through it because you want to bring up an old map.
Exactly. And the old map is 212 years old. And no one has really used these paths since they were carved out 212 years ago. You have a question?
I just do think it's a little annoying on Heather because if we live in a town of 600 people, like, go anywhere but my backyard, babe.
Right.
Like, go anywhere but my backyard.
Right. And I mean, I know that it doesn't sound big, but there's got to be other places that she could be carving this path out in.
She said, no, honey, I want to look at your outdoor shower while I put my little orange markers on these trees and then welcome the greater public to wave at you while you're sunning in the backyard.
In your very backyard. Okay. So due to growing frustrations of the town's residents, Heather Donahue was removed from office and was replaced with an election to pick her successor, which is going to happen next month as we record this in real time. So that sucks. She tried to do something nice, but I understand the townspeople's cries. Like, we could have focused elsewhere. You know?
And also, like, she just moved there.
Mm-hmm. Right. Okay. So that's where this guy comes in. His name is Tyler, unpronounceable last name. So he has one of the abutting properties. His backyard is in this situation. He said the recall on her wasn't just about the orange blazes on the wooden trail. He said he wanted to address a pattern of behavior by Heather that bothered long established residents in the years since she took office. Now, this didn't dive into the other things she's done or said, and I don't want to crucify her because I don't know. But apparently the people were annoyed with other decisions that she was making. He said, quote, I was relieved that the recall was successful. I thought Heather's demeanor and behavior towards the others was just unbecoming of a town official. Yikey dikeys. So the matter of the public versus the private owned land still remains unsolved with the town. And Heather is not interested at all in reliving the glory of starring in the Blair Witch Project, which was released in 1999 and is one of the most successful independent movies of all time. The film sparked a resurgence of interest in found footage style horror, and it wowed critics and polarized audiences. But it also led Heather Donahue of years of legal wrangling over compensation and the rights of her likeness. So to her, it's like, I understand I was in an iconic movie. I will acknowledge it, but I don't want to go do meet and greets, and I'm all set with that.
Well, you know what though? I feel like, I'm sorry, if you want to go move into the forest and kind of like live out your dreams, maybe don't join the select board and start trying to like stir up drama in a town of 600 people and then be shocked when people are annoyed that you're putting bike paths in people's backyards. Like, why don't you just move there and hang out in your own backyard?
Right.
Like,
for real.
I think she's trying to do good, but I think she's also like, it's like, oh no, people are reacting to my desires. This is annoying. It's like, well, no one forced you to join the select board. Like, just move and relax.
And then it's like, but I don't want to talk about the movie that had something similar to do with things on trees and the situation that I'm caught up in now. But
she tried to do something good, and I do think people should have access to public like roads, but maybe there was a different way we could have done this. So I don't know. There's definitely holes in the story in terms of like what happened there, but
and the research, she won't be done because I haven't the time, truly. So that is the end of the story here, and that's coming from AP News by Patrick Whittle. And it's titled, Still Finding Trouble in the Woods. Blair Witch Project star at center of Main Road dispute. Main Road, like M-A-I-N-E.
oh my God, amazing.
What a play on words, many a time. Okay, so that is my article. What would you like to discuss? What is the topic at hand?
They're lined up again.
Oh, our stories?
Yeah. Mine's about a woodsy woman.
Oh.
It's a harrowing tale though. So this article comes from NBC News by Viola Flowers. The title of the article is Hiker Missing for 3 Weeks, Details Her Survival Journey in California Mountains.
I did see this briefly on TikTok.
The day before Tiffany Slanton's 28th birthday, she was looking forward to eating a pack of Dunkaroo cookies with frosting dip that she'd saved as a makeshift birthday cake. It was the only real food she had left after surviving 24 days lost in the Sierra Nevada mountains, subsisting on wild leeks and boiled snow. So,
boiled snow?
Yeah. What had originally started as a 3-day solo camping vacation around Shaver and Huntington Lakes in Fresno, California, turned into a weeks-long journey of survival. It ended at a cabin more than 40 miles away at Vermilion Valley Resort, where Slanton was found by the resort's owner on Wednesday.
Oh my God.
I know, it's campers, stay with me. It's got a good ending, but it's pretty scary to get there. So by the time she was rescued, Slanton had endured 13 snowstorms and climbed to an altitude of 11,000 feet, officials said on Friday. In addition to dropping 10 pounds from the ordeal, she also lost her tent, sleeping bags, and was forced to abandon her bike at a trailhead sign. So at a press conference Friday, alongside her parents and Fresno County Sheriff John Zanoni, Slanton spoke publicly about her journey for the first time. Zanoni called her story one they would make movies about. I really feel like it is cinematic how this all happened. So it is truly an incredible story of perseverance, determination, and survival, the sheriff added. So Slanton, an experienced outdoors person from Jeffersonville, Georgia, was reported missing by her parents on April 29th after they had not heard from her in 9 days.
Oh my God, and they knew where she was going. That's so horrifying.
And we're 6 days past how long this trip was supposed to be. So they're like, something's up. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So a full-scale operation to locate Slanton was conducted from May 6th to May 10th, spanning 600 square miles and deploying a helicopter. Local authorities and volunteers covered 4,300 miles by foot and vehicle in search of Slanton, officials said on Friday. So Slanton began her trek on April 20th, equipped with basic camping supplies, including an electric bike, 2 sleeping bags, and a tent, and anticipated she'd be gone for only a few days. Early in her journey, Slanton fell off of a cliff and was unable to return to the main road due to a recent avalanche. She was unconscious for about 2 hours.
Oh my God.
And upon regaining consciousness, she had to splint one of her legs and pop the other knee back into place.
This is a nightmare.
She attempted to call 911 without success and couldn't get her phone's navigation system to work. Frustrated, she asked her phone for the location of the nearest Starbucks. It gave her a location 18 miles away, which was closer than retracing her path back to the park's entrance. Because she's like down a cliff. So she's probably like, I'll just try to do that, I guess. So Slayton pressed on, relying on her resourcefulness and what she could find in the wilderness. Her skills as a high-level archer, her medical knowledge as a traveling dialysis technician, and her horticulture training proved crucial to her survival. She journaled every day in an effort to keep sane. So she has this all documented, which is crazy.
Oh my God.
The worst thing you can do in an emergency situation is panic, Slayton said. After 5 days, Slayton ran out of most of her food and relied on her foraging skills to gather leeks she knew to be native in the Sierra Nevada range.
Leeks like a vegetable or
I
like
think
water
so.
leeks?
No, I think like leeks is the vegetable.
Oh.
She said she made tea each day with manzanita and pine needles. Wow. So Slayton navigated the Kaiser Pass, a 9,000-foot peak buried under 10 to 12 feet of snow before it was plowed earlier this week. She eventually made her way to the Vermilion Valley in Lake Edison, where she was finally rescued. When Slayton finally saw the Vermilion Valley Resort cabin, she thought she was hallucinating and had somehow managed to make it to the North Pole. She opened the door, which was unlocked, to one of these like resort cabins, and inside she found what she described as the best sleeping bag I had ever seen. Slayton was found on Wednesday, the day before her 28th birthday, by resort owner Christopher G.
Okay.
So snow plows had cleared the road, allowing him access to the property to prepare it for the summer. G told the authorities he leaves the cabins unlocked in case stranded hikers would need shelter.
Oh my God, so smart. What an angel.
That was the 13th heaviest snowstorm I had been in, and it was going to be the last one, Slayton said. If he hadn't come that day, they would have found my body there. She was out there and there was 13 snowstorms while she was trying to survive. 13.
Oh my God.
Zanoni called it a miracle that the road happened to be plowed on Tuesday, enabling Christopher G to arrive the next day. When Slayton was found, the resort owner said he recognized her from the missing persons report, obviously in the region of which his business is in. She pops out, didn't say a word, just ran up, and all she wanted was a hug. And it was a pretty surreal moment. Christopher G said at a press conference Wednesday, and that's when I knew. That's when I realized who this was.
Wow.
So I think the fact that she had such survival training, she would have never have made it that far. But the fact that she like had skills, she popped her leg into place.
Yeah, that is so wild. That is crazy. So how many miles did she trek total? Did it have that? I don't know if you said it or if I missed it. If it didn't, that's fine.
It just said that she climbed an altitude of 11,000 feet. I'm not sure how many miles, but it was 13 snowstorms, which is crazy. 3 weeks.
Everything against her. Yeah, there's gonna be a movie. There's gonna be a book, especially because she journaled everything. And I can't imagine, like, I didn't hear the full story, but what I did see was her at the press conference with the headline at the bottom. So I didn't get the full context of what was going on. And she seemed so like with it. And I feel like if that happened to me, and I found myself like standing at a podium in front of people after like all that shit, I would be like, oh, I have passed away, and this is like some weird. Do you know what I mean? Like I would truly believe myself that like I didn't make it, and this was like a weird way to heaven. I don't know. Like that is so wild. But looking forward to reading her book.
Yeah, and her press conference interview was like she seemed really together. You're right. And I thank God for her previous experiences to get her to survive.
And now I don't know the answer to this question, but I'm wondering if there is a device that's like can be run off of satellites. You know, you don't need Wi-Fi and it runs on like a watch battery. And you can just keep it on your wrist and just press that crazy button.
Like she probably, I don't know if she had it, but like Garmin has really intense like navigation stuff that goes beyond an iPhone. I know people are working with like Starlink to be able to like be in the wilderness and still have like service, but all this technology, if you don't have access to it and some of it's still very new, like I think it's getting better, but also there's like little holes in everything, and it's a very dangerous passion, and she's lucky to be alive, but also I think there's luck and there's also being equipped to handle what was going wrong. And clearly she was experienced, and thank God she was. So, wow, Tiff.
Well, campers, you don't have to worry about that kind of danger while you're here. But you do have to worry about the traffic because we are, as we've said before, very close to I-95. There's a lot of sound pollution, a lot of light pollution if you're trying to stargaze. Not going to happen here, baby.
Grab your bug juice and bear spray, campers. It's time to pack it up and take a hike.
Welcome back to Take a hike. Slap on that Garmin Starlink GPS system because we're going to tell something that we hate to pack it up and take a hike. Okay, so what do I want to tell to take a hike this week? I was doing a lot of listening to music on this very quick trip that we had, and I don't know why it stuck out to me so much, but there's so many songs that just fade out. So what I'm telling to take a hike is songs that fade out. Just figure out a good way to end the song.
I know.
End it on a good note. They're in the saying, let's end it on a good note. I feel like fading out a song is lazy, it's sloppy, and it's boring. Do you agree?
Yeah, I know what you mean. I never really put thought into it, but I do think when songs end on a really cool way, it is much more impactful to the audio listener.
If a song ends with a loud like hit, if it's build up, hit, and then reverb to silence, beautiful. That's not the fade out I'm talking about. I'm talking about continuing the chorus. Like, I don't need Invisible by Clay Aiken. The only one that came to mind. I'm so sorry, Clay, if you're an avid listener of this. But that just keeps going and it's like fading. And it's like, could we not figure out a way to end it on a good note? Like, then it's over.
I think like, this will be an everlasting.
That fades out.
I think she repeats that chorus like 17 times and it's like one more. Oh my God, bills. They could have cut the last like 60 seconds off that song.
And then here's the other thing is like you're performing them live at some point and you have to end it right then and there. So there's a way to do it.
I will say the end of Bills by Destiny's Child, how they do the last chorus, it's a good way. You know what they do? They isolate just the vocals. And they do one more run, and that's not a fade, but that's a good way. That's also a very interesting way to end the song.
That's a different way to end the song.
Producer Jonathan, get on the ones and twos.
There. Yeah, so I was like, okay, let me see what songs, just as examples, I picked 4 that are on the Camp Songs playlist that have good endings. I pressed scramble.
For good endings.
Yeah, for good endings. And so these came on at random, and I just picked the first 4. So just for example, if you're not following me Into the Dark. First song, Crazy by Britney Spears. A great way to end a song. Next, Maroon, Taylor Swift. Next, Don't Call Me Angel, Miley, Ariana, and Lana. And the last, With You by Jessica Simpson. All have great endings that don't fade out. Thank you so much for coming to my TED Talk. Just figure it out and like stick to it, you know?
Mm-hmm. I hear you.
So I actually, my camp song later in the day, not sure how that one ends. I can't remember.
We'll find out.
A foot in mouth. Okay, so what are you telling to take a hike?
Poor management that does not help out their employees.
Okay, so we're jumping back into the story.
Jumping back to what I was going to say before, but I'm doing it for my take a hike. When we were at the Macaroni Grill, we get to the front of the restaurant and there's no host and we're kind of like waiting there, and I was like, wait, I see 2 spots at the bar, let's sit there. I see a place to charge my phone, and the bartender is very overwhelmed, and I quickly, because I'm nosy, am listening to him talk to his coworker that he's the only one on because the scheduling was off. So he was running around with his head cut off trying to serve an entire dining room and an entire bar at 5:30 on a Thursday at
in the
airport.
Orlando airport.
So like, I'm already frustrated for him. I'm very patient in these kind of situations because I'm like, I see what's happening. All I want to do is put an apron on and go to the table at the patio, which is weird to call it a patio if it's indoor, but that was the section they were talking about, and get their drink order for this guy.
Right, because people started seating themselves. Like he couldn't keep up with it and people just started sitting down, and like they had the QR code so you could just start taking orders. So he couldn't stop them even if he wanted to.
So at one point, this manager comes out and he's like, I'm really overwhelmed. And she has like a binder and she's like, oh my God, that's crazy. The next person comes in at 6. He's like, I'd really appreciate it if you could help me get some tables started. And she just walked away and then never helped him. And then 15 minutes later, I heard him talking to another coworker who was like off for the shift. And he was like, she didn't come out. I asked her for help and she just disappeared. So, and then I counted, guys. There was 13 people sitting at the bar and there was 8 tables.
One person making everybody's drinks, taking everybody's orders,
and running
food by himself. There was like tomatoes. The place was absolutely filthy. And manager Where is he at? Sitting in the back?
I get on the phone and I call the restaurant.
He literally did.
And I get placed and no one picks up the phone because they're obviously busy. And I left a voicemail. I said, to whom it may concern, aka the manager holding the binder that did not help out the bartender. As a patron who worked in the service industry, to watch you not help someone drowning is unprofessional and ridiculous. It's 5:30 in the middle of the dinner rush. I don't care if you're scheduling or doing ordering. That stuff is to be done on times of day when the restaurant is not in full effect. And the fact that you would let him drown is unbecoming of a manager and of your restaurant. And this is on you and your responsibility to make sure your team succeeds. It doesn't matter if someone's coming in at 6, you work from 5:30 to 6, you are a part of this team. And I can't believe you didn't help him. And I'm really disappointed in you. And then hung up.
Yeah.
Because it has nothing to do with the bartender, but the manager, she didn't do anything. And I cannot believe it.
And he was like so nice. People were just being crazy because, everybody starts rolling their eyes and gets so pissed directly at the point of contact, which is this poor man who's like doing his best. And the woman who was helping him behind the bar, like run things and like bust things the best that she could and get ice. It was a nightmare.
Manager at the
felt for
Macaroni
them.
Grill in the Orlando airport. Who are you, girl? I left a voicemail, and guess what? She's gonna get it, and she's gonna delete it.
Yeah, she's not gonna let anybody know, but we're letting everybody here know.
But I thought she should have to sit with that and say, "Wow,
sit with it." And here it is in the public.
That's the leader I am. Okay, well, collect that salary, whatever makes you sleep at night.
Oh, there's that.
Do you think the new counselor likes the top bunk or the bottom bunk? Over.
Either way, I'm giving them my boondoggle keychain. Over. Welcome back to Camper Crush of the Week. Who are we crushing on? What are we loving? Ooh, ooh, ooh. Well, campers, for the first time in Shady Birch history, I do believe this is the first time this has ever happened, we have a conjoined twin.
I think we've done a shared crush of the week.
Have we? Someone let us know.
It's been years.
Well, we have a shared crush of the week, which again harkens back to that trip, which was the shortest trip, but somehow had the most stories.
It did. There was so much packed into it.
Now, this may sound like a take a hike, but it is not. Our conjoined Camp Crush of the Week is witnessing strangers check someone else being a public nuisance.
Yeah, because everyone's annoyed by a common person, but then someone speaks up for the entire plane or group, and then you're like, well, I'm glad that I didn't have to say it. But whatever she's saying or he's saying in the moment, I co-sign, but thank God she has the balls to say something.
Yeah.
She did. What happened?
For context, this is a Delta flight on the way back.
Another
this is
bad
not the
Delta flight.
This is not the one we talked about at the beginning. I'm in the middle of this time being a martyr darter. My daughters, Teresa Caputo, Teresa Judice.
Daughters.
So again, this flight was probably more of a mess than the last one. I won't get into details because this is a Camp Crush, but it really, they weren't letting people put bags under the plane. So if there was any overflow of the people who were sitting at the front of the plane, they had to walk their bags all the way to the back, only to then be told there was no room. And it was kind of like we were an hour delayed at that point.
It was a mess.
It was a mess, but that's not about that. When the plane landed, we already knew it was going to be a mess because people were going to be trying to walk backwards while people are trying to deplane. For the most part, the people up front kind of sat in their seats or got out of everybody's way and were like, this sucks, but we have to let everybody get off the plane and then go back and get our bags. That's the normal protocol. But everybody and their mother loves to just stand up and start grabbing their bags and doing their thing, which is like fine to an extent. But once the aisle's full, just stay in your seat. One woman was not having it. The aisles were so crammed, and she decided that it was a good idea for her to add herself into the mix. She said, I'm standing up and I'm going to try to walk backwards to get my bag that is 3 seats behind me.
Probably more than that. It's probably like 5 rows, 6 rows, 7 rows back.
But babes, there was a hero in a middle seat, and I'm not talking about me. What happened next?
She just like stood up and she said,
a separate woman. This is woman B. We'll call her woman B.
She's
The
on the
other one
side
was
of
woman
us,
A.
and she was like watching the woman come back through to get her bag. And she said, are you serious right now? Are you really serious right now? You got a plane full of people. Everyone's trying to exit and you're trying to get your bag right now? You're crammed in between 2 people and you don't even care. You got that woman pinned against a chair right now.
because you need to get your bag. Why don't you sit down and wait to get your bag like everybody else? Everybody's got somewhere to go. I got 2 kids here and we got a 2-hour drive back and you want to cut everybody off to get your bag? You're being crazy right now. Look at me in the eye. What's wrong with this girl? And the girl literally cowers, takes her phone out of her satchel and pretends to be texting. She's like, I can't even believe this girl. It's crazy. I'm just in Florida, but look how quick the New Yorker comes out of me.
It really came out of her quick. And she also said, you're bumping into the family next to you. Are you even going to apologize? She waited. The girl A, woman A, doesn't say anything. Woman B claps back and says, just be fucking human.
Yeah.
Period.
And she had to hear that. And I guess everyone only thinks about what they're doing. Like, we all are exhausted. We all have somewhere to be. Maybe she had a layover or a transfer. At the end of the day, guys, we landed at 11:45 into LGA. I don't know how many flights are taking off at 1 o'clock in the morning. Not a lot, not really any. So I think she just was exhausted, wanted to get home, but so did the rest of us. So I was annoyed watching her come through. I was like, I cannot believe she's doing this. But our hero,
no, truly, the hero.
She said, I'm going to speak for the plane right now. Sit your ass down.
She met her match in 34C for real, for real. Flight attendant said, we're securing the cabin. She said, I'm securing justice.
She did.
And she did.
Shout out to that New Yorker. We loved her.
What song's been stuck in your head all week? Welcome to Camp Songs.
Welcome back to Camp Songs. Hopefully these are songs that have been stuck in our head all week that do not involve a fade.
And they quite possibly could, but if they do, I don't want to hear it. I'm a different person than I was 10 minutes ago.
But you're not going to not listen to a song that has a fade. You're just saying...
No, it was just something of notice. Yeah,
yeah,
sure.
You're just saying that, like, you wish they wouldn't be so lazy, sloppy, boring.
Okay, but my camp song is not lazy, nor sloppy, nor boring, babes. Let me tell you a little bit about this. My camp song is So Into You by Tamia. Do you want to sing it, Tamia?
I need to hear it before I sing it.
I really like what you done to me. I can't really explain it. I'm so into you. I'm so into you. Okay, so this song samples the 1978 song Say Yeah by the Commodores.
Do you think sampling is lazy?
No.
I like sampling.
I like sampling as well, as long as you're not doing things the Ava Max way, but that's neither here nor there.
Don't start another
Ask Mamrie about Ava Max, I'll tell you. And a plane. There's that story is out there. Okay, so I do have the Commodores on vinyl. If you know, you know. I don't know why I said that. So this song by Tamia is about her then boyfriend, now husband, Grant Hill.
I love Grant Hill.
Do you really?
No.
Oh, I was going to say, since when do you like basketball? First off, look up a picture of him in the year 2025.
Is he hot?
He's looking really great.
Who do you play for?
Very well. The Clippers.
My favorite team.
The nail clippers, the nail biter. They'll have you biting your nails when you're watching the nail clippers.
They almost lose.
And every time. But somehow he's an MVP. So the song was about him back then. And now they're married, still together. Oh, such a cute couple. Okay, so I'm watching the music video because there is a music video. The song came out in like 1999, 98 maybe. They just figured out green screens and CGI. They were like, wait, we can have her floating in a bedroom with diamonds flying around her for no reason. Oh, it looks the time. So I think it looks great. Does it look real? Absolutely not. But it was in the time. But at the very beginning of this music video, it's Tamia and she's laying down. Unless I didn't catch it, there isn't a guy in the video. It's just her and her girlfriends hanging out and like flipping through magazines. And she's just being like herself and like telling her friends about this guy that she loves. I'm watching it and I take a double take. I'm like, that can't be who I think it is. So who walks in but the daughter of the Commodore's lead singer and also reality TV icon, Nicole Richie, before any of the fame.
Oh, Lionel Richie is of the Commodores.
Yes.
Wow. And
She's
Nicole Richie's in the video?
Yes. And she's so young, and it was so long ago.
Oh, that's cool. That's a cool little nod to the original. I love
Yeah.
that. I want to watch the video.
It was quite a treat, but they weren't getting like a close, and then it made sense. I was like, oh, she wasn't like huge and famous back then, that they weren't like focusing on her. I feel like they would have given her some sort of cameo, and she didn't really have a big one, but she was there for sure. But yeah, it was definitely worth watching. Loves that. And yeah, that's that on that. Tamia was diagnosed with MS in 2003, but it does not define her. She has since become an advocate in the National MS Society ever since. And I guess Grant Hill just recently wrote a book, and they were on the Tamar Braxton show.
Wow. Well, let's elevate that right now.
Yeah.
Good for them.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So my camp song goes out to her.
Well, my camp song this week is a new song.
Oh.
It's by Kesha. It's called Boy Crazy.
Mhm.
If you were up to date on our socials, you may have seen Jonathan and I's collab video of us partying crazy at the airport.
It went viral.
To what Kesha song?
Blah, 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 featuring 303. Oh my God, my shirt is so 303 coded right now.
It is.
Hello.
Well,
Bite me.
the song that I'm doing, Boy Crazy, is not an old Kesha song. It's a new Kesha song, but the beauty of Kesha's new album that's about to come out this summer called Period, all of the singles so far, for the most part, there's one that's a little off, I feel, but for the most part have been very like old style Kesha meets new style Kesha. Like the essence of party kind of like wild
Right.
girl is still very evident, but in an updated take. Like I'm really excited to see her returning to her like recession roots.
My steez is going to be affected if I keep it up. Like a lovesick crackhead.
She's serious. That's kind of like, that is going to play into this one. So, because that song is Your Love Is My Drug, right?
Correct.
So this song is called Boy Crazy. Anytime Kesha's popping off, it is the only and real recession indicator, in my opinion. So she's crazy. She's a party girl on this. It's very wild and carefree. It's got a really fun sound, very like hyper pop. It's a 2-minute and 38-second song, which I think is a little too short for me. I think we could have added one more bridge and we would have made the clear 3, but she said, I don't give a fuck. I'm Kesha. But there's something really funny about this. The Rolling Stone said in an article about this song, Boy Crazy, because the song is about her being boy crazy, it's further proving that for Kesha, love really is her drug.
I really love that. Great callback.
Isn't that funny?
Sleaze Pop is back, y'all. And so is the man backing up his truck across the street.
Listen, is this song going to win awards? No. Is it winning over the heart of our camp? Yes. So if you want something like little like la 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 and you're drinking like something like really cute in your car, maybe like a prebiotic, postbiotic moment.
We're doing a line of coke in a bathroom. Who cares? I listened
It's for
to
the
that,
girls, for sure.
I listened to that song when it came out on New Music Friday, and it was maybe 7 a.m. because that's when I like to like do my little
Too much.
download. And it was a lot, but I listened to it twice.
It'd be really good for cardio.
Oh yeah.
Like
that's gonna be a
cardio,
Peloton one for sure.
Pre-gaming, girls only, get your husband out of here. Get your boyfriend out of the room. He doesn't get it. But if you were a Kesha girl 15 years ago, my God, she's back.
I can't go to court. I have Kesha tickets. Name that housewife.
No, teen mom. What was her name? Janelle
Monáe.
She went to Kesha with Kiefer and then she went to jail.
I went to Kesha with Kiefer and then I ended up buying Buzz.
Listen, that's all we got for today, campers. A lot of Florida talk, a lot of plane drama, and a lot of Jonathan and I. Thank you so much for listening. If you haven't yet, please like and review our show. 5 stars. Share it with a friend so we continue to grow our camp here.
And if you want us to read one of your stories on our Monday episodes, that is Trail Mix. You can send us an email at campcounselorspod@gmail.com, or you can go to our website on the World Wide Web, www.campcounselorspodcast.com. And there is a write-in tab somewhere. I'm sure you can find it.
Yeah, we'll see you Monday. We'll see you Wednesday. We'll see you next week, the week after, and forever. And with that being said,
Lights out, campers.